My son deserves that cabin." That was the first thing I heard screamed at the top of her lungs while cops stood in my driveway and neighbors filmed with their phones. And 3 months later, her son Jerry, the golden boy she tried to crown as heir, was the one in handcuffs, sentenced to 10 years. How did it go from me moving into my grandfather's cabin to watching an entire neighborhood erupt like a courtroom drama? Act 1. The conflict begins. When I first came back to Pine Ridge, I wasn't chasing drama. It was supposed to be simple. Me, my wife Michelle, 6 months pregnant, and an old wooden cabin that my late grandfather Harold left me in his will. I carried boxes inside, thinking this is it, a fresh start, a place to raise our kids surrounded by trees instead of traffic. But before I could even set the last box down, I heard the crunch of gravel outside. I didn't even have to look up. I already knew who it was. Deborah Lewis, HOA president, clipboard glued to her hand like it was a police badge. And behind her Jerry, her grown man of a son, holding up his phone like we were starring in his reality show. "You're trespassing," Deborah snapped. "Not even a hello. This cabin belongs to Jerry. He cared for your grandfather for 20 years, and Harold promised him this house." I felt the words hit heavy, but I managed to say calm but sharp, "It belongs to me. It's in the will." She smirked, eyes narrowing like a mask slipping. "I don't think you understand. Jerry deserves this cabin. Show me the will, right now." Michelle stepped onto the porch, one hand on her belly, and she didn't look scared at all. She looked ready to swing. And that's when Deborah pulled out her phone, hit go live, and screamed into the camera, "Attention Pine Ridge, thieves are stealing my son's inheritance." Her HOA group chat lit up like fireworks. Neighbors started commenting, tagging each other, watching live as Deborah painted me as some criminal. And right on cue, a police cruiser pulled up. Officer Hanson, calm, collected. He checked the deed, checked the will, and handed it back to me with a nod. "Sir, the property is legally yours." Deborah's face twisted. She shrieked, "Police corruption. You're all in on it." The cop barely reacted. He'd clearly seen this type before, but I was shaking not with fear, but with rage. That night I thought maybe things would calm down. But Pine Ridge had other plans. Around midnight, motion sensors went off. Red paint splattered across the cabin walls. "Thieves get out." And worse, muddy footprints led straight to the nursery we'd just finished. In the crib, a folded note. "Beautiful room. Shame if something happened to it." Signed, in my grandfather's handwriting. But Harold's been dead for months. I felt my stomach drop. Someone was messing with us. Someone wanted us to believe the dead were speaking. And deep down, I knew it was just the beginning. Act 2. Escalation and the breaking point. The next morning, Michelle and I scrolled through the Pine Ridge Facebook group. Deborah had posted her version of the story. Hundreds of likes, comments piling up. If they're stealing from Jerry, they better leave before things get ugly. I read it all, fists clenched. The neighbors we thought we could rely on, they were turning against us. And for the first time, I doubted myself. Was I really the villain here? Had Harold whispered promises to Jerry when I wasn't around? Did I miss something? I sat at the kitchen table, head in my hands, and whispered, "Maybe we should just go. This isn't worth it." Michelle slammed her coffee down. "Jason, if we run, we teach our kid that fear wins. That's not happening. Not in my house." Her words cut through the fog. She wasn't just standing up for me. She was standing up for our family's future. And she wasn't waiting around. That night she marched me to Deborah's front door. Deborah opened it with that razor blade smile. "Well, well, the thieves come knocking." Michelle didn't flinch. "We're here for answers. What are you hiding?" Inside, we spotted it immediately, a black duffel bag half hidden behind a chair. Michelle moved fast, snatched it up, unzipped. Inside tapes, dozens of them, each labeled with names. Elderly residents. Harold's name right on top. My chest tightened. What the hell is this? Deborah lunged forward, shrieking, "Give that back!" But Jerry's face. He wasn't angry. He was terrified. His hands shook as he whispered, "You need to leave. It's too late now." "Too late for what?" Deborah snarled, eyes darting like a cornered animal. "You have no idea what you're involved in. This isn't about a cabin. It's bigger than you think." That night I couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in my skull. bigger than a cabin, bigger than us. And then it hit me. What if Deborah had been manipulating the entire neighborhood all along? Act 3, the showdown. I couldn't keep quiet anymore. We called a meeting, 15 neighbors crammed into our living room, folding chairs pressed against the walls. I stood heart pounding. This isn't about one cabin. Deborah has used the HOA to control every single one of us. She lied, she stole, and we've got proof. Michelle held up the tapes. And it's not just theft. These tapes show her coaching Jerry to lie about caring for the elderly. Financial records, embezzlement, over $900,000 gone. The room went dead silent. And then Margaret, an older neighbor, spoke up. After I drank tea Deborah brought me, I felt sick for days. I thought it was me, but maybe it wasn't. Gasps rippled. People started whispering. Deborah's mask cracked. She jumped to her feet, fingers shaking. You think you can accuse me? You thieves, you liars? Then she lunged straight at Michelle. I stepped in front, chest tight. Enough, Deborah. For a split second, the whole room froze. And then the floodgates opened. Neighbors started shouting their own stories, how Deborah had manipulated, threatened, bullied. Years of fear spilled out all at once. Deborah, we're done with you. You don't control us anymore. Deborah spun in circles, eyes wide, realizing her power was slipping away. This neighborhood belongs to me, she screamed, voice cracking. But nobody believed her anymore. Finally, Margaret stood again, voice steady. We're voting her out, right here, right now. Hands went up across the room, one by one. The decision was unanimous. Deborah staggered back, clutching her chest. My heart. Someone call an ambulance. But the paramedics checked her vitals and shook their heads. Ma'am, you're fine. She tried again, whining, pleading. But nobody listened. Security escorted her out, her shrill voice echoing down the street. You'll regret this. You don't know who you're messing with. And that's how the reign of Pine Ridge's self-appointed queen ended. Not with applause, not with closure, but with neighbors staring at one another, realizing just how long we'd been fooled. Ending line. And if there's one thing I learned, it's this. Bullies keep their power until the day someone finally says, enough.